Hey everybody, good morning. We are here on this Wednesday, middle of the week now, moving past the tough loss on Sunday and thinking about what we can do to make up for it down the line. We've got a game coming up this weekend that, it should be a pretty routine victory, but we won't know until we get there. And there's plenty of stuff to think about and talk about while we wait to get there. Got an injury report coming later today. We'll look at that, of course, but I want to talk about one of the big stories this week from a lot of the Seahawks and Seahawks adjacent people on the internet. This comes from something that Mike Macdonald said in his press conference after the game. And I think that it is something that is certainly worth talking about because we got 7 games left plus playoffs this season. And it's time to get as serious as you can. We got to talk about these running backs. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you about Sleeper, a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat on sports games in real time with other users. You can get the fastest scores, blazing fast sports news and sports alerts right at your fingertips. And of course, you can use Sleeper to play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. This is the way sports were meant to be enjoyed together. So download Sleeper today. Use promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. And you can pair that with another promo they have right now where you can get a $20 entry free with no deposit required. So get both of those things going. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper today. Get to it and go have some fun with sports this year. All right, so one thing that came out of the post-game press conferences from Mike Macdonald after the Rams game on Sunday was discussion of the running back position in Seattle and how basically Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet have been kind of a 1A, 1B situation where both guys get a lot of opportunities, both guys get close to equal numbers of reps from game to game, and it feels like a true timeshare situation where no one guy is going to dominate the ball and dominate the opportunities. But one thing that Macdonald implied is that Walker, the way he's played so far this year, they feel like they need to swing things back towards him, turn him into the lead back, and use Charbonnet in more of a maybe not quite backup role, but a reduced role. So it makes a lot of sense. I mean, just on the very surface of it, let's just take a look at the very basic numbers here. You take a look at Ken Walker so far this year. The numbers on the, again, this is just surface level stuff, clearly better. Right now, Ken Walker is averaging 4.5 yards a carry. And by the way, that's almost a career high. That is 0.1 yards away from equaling his career high. So it's close to the most efficient he's been with the ball in his hands. He's averaging 9.1 yards per catch, which is a career high. So if you actually put it all together, by the way, he's averaging 4.9 yards per touch, which is the best of his career, better than his rookie year. And that kind of efficiency is clearly standing out in this offense because you can argue that 4.5 yards a carry isn't that great. Like, you've got running backs out there right now that are averaging a full yard to a yard and a half more than that. But we're not comparing him to those guys. We're comparing him to Zach Charbonnet. And if you take a look at his basic top line numbers, 3.3 yards a carry, which is by far the lowest of his career and one of the lowest, maybe even the lowest of qualifying running backs. 7.4 yards per catch, which is fine, but it's certainly inferior, and 3.7 yards per touch. Not per carry, per touch. So no matter how you slice it, Ken Walker is a lot more productive when he gets the ball this year than Charbonnet. They've both been given ample opportunities. Like, Charbonnet's had well over 100 touches. K9 has had now 150 touches. This is not a small sample size thing anymore. Both these guys have had opportunities to show what they can do, and the results are clear. But it goes beyond the top line. Like, let's take a look at this tweet from Ben B. Baldwin, which charts, well, mostly it charts rushing yards over expected. And basically, this tries to give an estimate of how good a running back is doing versus how good they should be doing based off how good their run blocking is and how good the situations in which they get the ball are. And I mean, first of all, they also chart the team run block grade, which if you want to take that seriously, you can, if you want to at least factor that into the equation, Seattle's run blocking, at least in terms of grade, is right around league average, just a little above 62. So we got that. So that's the first thing I want to say. The run blocking on this team, according to Pro Football Focus, for whatever it's worth, is not that bad. It's about league average. Now, I think we're still near the top in terms of running backs getting contacted in the backfield, so that specifically is a problem, but overall, we're not any more or less than about average when it comes to run blocking, according to Pro Football Focus. Now, here's the thing. No matter how you slice it, yards over expected per attempt, Ken Walker is basically dead on 0.0. So he's doing exactly what would be expected of him based off the carries he's getting. No more, no less. Maybe 0.002 or something in the positive. But basically, he is doing exactly what the expected is. So that's not great. There are a lot of running backs who are above that line. So you can see most qualifying running backs in the league are doing better than Walker. But the important point is, for whatever you think of Walker and what he's done so far this year, it is massively better than Zach Charbonnet, who is one of the worst evaluated players in football in terms of yards over expected. He is averaging about negative 0.6 or negative 0.7 yards over expected per attempt. The only guys lower are Kamara, oddly enough, Tyrone Tracy, Chuba Hubbard, and Christian McCaffrey, also kind of oddly enough. So the difference is very stark here. And in a situation like this, even though Walker leaves something to be desired, even though a lot of these running backs are doing a lot better than him, the only thing that matters is that he's offering more than Charbonnet. And again, this is a good sample size. Both guys have over 100 carries. I think this is probably the big one right here. Yes, Charbonnet is being put in bad situations with the run blocking, and this particular type of bad run blocking is probably much worse for Charbonnet than Walker because he has no opportunity to build up momentum when he's contacted in the backfield. But it doesn't matter. The point is, K9 is at least meeting expectations, whereas Charbonnet is falling way short, about 0.6 or 0.7 yards short per attempt. And over the course of a game, that adds up. So, more than anything else, I think that this just screams an adjustment needs to be made. Something needs to be done to the splits so that our best players get the ball more often. Also, for whatever this is worth, and again, Pro Football Focus grades, take them or leave them, trust them or don't trust them. Everybody's going to have a different opinion. Ken Walker is currently the highest graded running back in football. Higher than Jahmyr Gibbs, higher than Jonathan Taylor, higher than Bijan, higher than James Cook. He is the highest graded running back. And he has the second highest run grade of any player in football as well, behind only Jonathan Taylor. So PFF really likes what they see with Walker right now. They've always been pretty pro Walker, in fairness, but I mean, I don't think they're getting it this wrong. In fairness, Charbonnet is actually 15th. Charbonnet is actually doing well too. Pro Football Focus still thinks he's good. So I think what Pro Football Focus is saying is that circumstance and situation has more to do with the running back relative struggles than anything to do with the players. But again, if you want to make the straight comparison, Walker is clearly better. And yeah, Charbonnet's doing better with his pass block grade, but his pass block grade is bad too. Charbonnet's pass block grade this year is a very disappointing 45.8. So even though it's a lot better than Walker's, neither guy's been any good. And I don't think that can be some sort of equalizer here when Charbonnet is also been a lot worse this year with the ball in his hands. So I think you got to kind of call an audible until Charbonnet either gets back to form as a pass blocker or starts running with the ball better, or maybe becomes a better receiver, because you can see, surprisingly, or maybe not, I think it's a little surprising, Walker's been a much better receiver this year as well, in terms of grade, not just in terms of the raw numbers, which we looked at earlier this video. And there's a bottom line here when it comes to looking at this running back stuff, and this is going to sound a little bit cold-blooded, maybe even a little bit pessimistic, but the reality of the situation is that Ken Walker is in the final year of his rookie deal, and as of right now, he is going to be an unrestricted free agent in 2026. He is going to be available to be signed. As of right now, we have not re-signed him. I have not heard of any efforts or attempts on the part of the Seahawks to start the 2025 season, to get into the season, to get to the point that we are now, to where this team is attempting to re-sign him. So right now, I think that the assumption is that Walker is at least going to hit the market, and there's a very good chance this season is his final season as a Seattle Seahawk. I mean, if you take a look at the market value tab on Spotrac, and Spotrac doesn't always get this stuff right, but quite honestly, if they did not get this right, I think they probably are a little bit conservative here. They think that Ken Walker is going to get a 4-year, $37.2 million extension. That's $9.3 million a year. And quite honestly, I think the Seahawks are doing quite well if Walker gets an extension like that compared to other running backs. This contract extension, this contract extension would be roughly in line with what James Conner got some time ago. This is what this is less, or well, a little bit more than what DeAndre Swift got not too long ago. This is, I believe, about what Chuba Hubbard got a little bit ago. And K9 is only going to be 25 years old when the offseason hits. And I mean, I know that it hasn't been smooth sailing for him necessarily, but he's been a very productive running back in this league. I'm pretty sure his production is easily more than what Chuba Hubbard gave you when he got his extension. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 4 years, 40 million, or 4 years, 44 million. Honestly, the cap goes up every year. So I don't even know if this is going to be accurate, and it might not be accurate the way some people are thinking. And do you want to make that investment when I know that there are extensions, and I know the big money doesn't kick in immediately, but you've got to think about Charles Cross, Devin Witherspoon, JSN, possibly an extension for a guy like Uchenna Nwosu. Do you want to do something with Boye Mafe? Do you want to keep him around? What about somebody like shoot, I'm blanking on the name here, but Kobe Bryant. Somebody like a Kobe Bryant or a Reek Woolen. With guys like that and the need to sign some free agents from the outside, because we don't have a lot of draft picks this year, and also the tantalizing possibility of maybe making a trade for somebody like Max Crosby, do you really want to be throwing 10 million, 11 million a year at Ken Walker when you know that he's had a little bit of an injury issue so far in his career, and we know the track record of running backs in this league tends to be they don't stay effective for that long, especially when you can just do what you've done before and just kind of keep paying it forward, picking up another good running back in the draft and just trying to keep the train going. I don't know. I don't know. To me, the answer is fairly clear. I know it won't be for everybody, but the point is, while we have him, we need to use him. See you guys later. Go Hawks.